We continue to establish wellness campuses in communities at high risk for obesity and related healthcare conditions. These sites are developed to coordinate educational, programmatic, and clinical obesity prevention services for children, adults, and seniors. Programming for these facilities will focus on nutrition and increasing fitness opportunities for families. In addition, this summer, the Chicago Park District will expand its sailing instruction program. For the first time ever, the Judge Goldman Sailing Program, which traditionally offered people with disabilities the chance to learn and enjoy the sport of sailing, will now be available to people without disabilities so that participants can learn in an inclusive setting. To facilitate this new venture, we have placed a new sailing manager in our budget to help integrate programs, but also to continue to build upon the success that the Judge Goldman Sailing Program has had for the last 19 years. In order to maintain the level of offerings that our patrons look for, we must turn to volunteers for help. In last year's budget address, we announced Partners for Parks, an initiative to enlist volunteers willing to make a long-term commitment to parks. We're working with our friends at Friends of the Park, Parkway Foundation, Dr. Dan Hildler, my Chief Program Officer, and his staff to facilitate this effort by recruiting parents committed to coaching teams for an entire season, retirees agreeing to share their talents at a local park, and individuals willing to perform frequent and scheduled park purification projects. On the capital side, we'll invest more than $30 million to eliminate architectural barriers that exist in our parks. Projects will include revamping washrooms to meet ADA compliance, installing elevators, and widening entrances. We're also moving forward with various capital projects using our one-third funding model, which requires contribution from state, local elected officials, community members, prior to the Park District committing Chicago Park District funds. We plan to continue to raise the bar on our playground construction by building 25 playgrounds this year. Now compare that to the 1980s and 90s when the Park District was averaging 5 new playgrounds a year. But the Park District can only do it because we've developed a model where we're spending as much money but getting 3 times as much effort because of the contributions of aldermen, like Alderman Cochran, former aldermen, well, you're not a former alderman yet, right? You're still an alderman. Alderman Preckwinkle and Alderman G.A.R. We are putting the finishing touches and the designs for 3 new field houses. Construction is slated this year for Haas Park, Valley Forge Park later this year, and we'll open the doors in the South Loop Fieldhouse, which will feature the first indoor playground. On the heels of celebrating the opening of the new LEED-certified Cusamo Harbor, the Chicago Park District looks forward to launching the construction of 2 new harbors, one at 31st Street and the other one at the Gateway Harbor at Navy Pier. Both of these projects are designed with more than the boater in mind. In addition to boater services and amenities like washrooms and showers, families spending the day at the lakefront can also enjoy public restrooms, concession, dining plazas, shops, and more. In addition, beachgoers will enjoy 2 new beach houses that will be constructed this year, one at Ocean Beach as well as one at 39th Street Beach, which will complement the new 12 added acres of parkland resulting from our shoreline work that was done 2 years ago. These projects and many others are funded through a combination of TIP dollars, state funding, and aldermanic menu money. Last year, more than $16 million in TIP assistance was committed to our partners. That's nearly 40% of the $41 million in TIP money the Park District has received during my tenure. Although some have criticized our methods, I can confidently tell you that without leveraging these funds, many of these projects would not have been completed. And we continue to wait for $67 million in state funding that was committed to us but never received. The payout of much of these funds is unforeseeable. The Chicago Park District, who in the past had front-funded a lot of these projects, can no longer afford to front-fund dollars for pending state funds. As a result, many capital projects, I believe there's some 70 projects in our 5-year plan, that we are going to receive large state funding. We'll have to wait until the state makes a decision on how they're going to secure the funding for the $67 million the state owes the little Chicago Park Committee. $67 million is a lot of money for us. When you're $12 million in the hole, I don't think it's a lot of money, but when you're a little park district, $67 million is a lot of money. There are many deserving communities still waiting for their projects, but we simply cannot move forward. We do not have the necessary funds to match the state's commitments. But we do urge all of you, advocacy organizations like Friends of the Park, to join us in Springfield to fight for those monies. We can also use your assistance on the federal level to move along legislation like House Resolution 3734. It's the new U.G.A.R bill. It's called Urban Revitalization and Livable Communities Act of 2009. The purpose of this bill is to provide federal funds and grants to urban areas for the rehabilitation of park facilities and the development of park programs. Legislation like this is critical. As chairman of the Urban Park Committee of the National Parks and Recreation Association, I've made numerous trips to Washington, rallying the support of the entire Chicago congressional delegation. I want to publicly thank all of our congressmen for signing on. Although we gained the support of ours and we've been able to engage and get the commitment of 89 other members of Congress, it still leaves us about 110 votes short of a majority. So we continue to work. We've identified all Democratic congressmen, and we continue to try to secure that legislation before this Congress ends. Because after the end of next year, you got to start all over again for new legislation. So while we play the waiting game with our state and federal government, the Chicago Park District continues to leverage TIF funds, automatic menu, and partner dollars to complete desperately needed projects throughout the state. The road ahead is certainly paved with challenges, but we remain optimistic. Together, we have made great progress, and I look forward to continuing that progress in the years to come. Thank you.